All right, everybody, welcome to this special session. It's really for me an opportunity to practice gratitude for all the wonderful learnings that I have received. So fortunate to get this new perspective on life. Lots of people still joining in. Today's session is going to include some meditation, going to include some chanting, going to include some storytelling, some experience sharing. We'll also do a little sutra reading. Let's just see how it goes. I want to thank the group Songs of Life who encouraged me to do this session. Gratitude to them for having this. And thank you all for joining in. It's a little late in the evening, but you know what? In Buddhist countries, they stay awake all night. So if you think it's late, it's not that late. On these full moon and new moon nights, people practice all night long. They meditate all night long. So I'd like to just start with a traditional chant. It's not so late for some of you, right? In London, it's only 5 p.m. Great. So I'm going to start with a traditional chant. And actually, I'd like you to chant this with me. This is a way of paying homage to the Buddha. So if you want, you can repeat after me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Beautiful. Yeah, I asked my teacher, why do we repeat things 3 times? And he said that hopefully you're aware at least 1 time. So in Buddhism, we often do things 3 times. And hopefully we are aware, mindful at least 1 of those 3 times. So one of the best things I've learned from my teachers is the power of pause. Get present. Whatever you're doing, get present. When listening, just listen. When seeing, just see. When feeling, just feel. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just tune in, just listen, just get present. So today's session also, I'd like you to be present. I'm going to play a beautiful bell, which is inviting all of us to be present. I find that the bell doesn't work so well with these headphones. I'm going to put them off for a second, and hopefully you'll hear it better. All right, enjoy the sound of my bowl. All right. So I'm actually I'm actually feeling really full right now. I'm just reminded of the time when I went for my first meditation retreat. I was 16 years old, and remember being quite unsure, what am I going for, not realizing how significant that experience would be. And I remember the teacher there greeting us so warmly and so lovingly, and telling us that some of you are feeling a little apprehensive being here, you're feeling uncertain being here, you're not sure how it's going to go. It was just a 3-day meditation retreat, but he was saying, I understand, because I was sitting there once upon a time. And I just want to reassure you that it's a very wholesome thing that you're doing. It's a very wholesome path you've taken, step you've taken. And he said that he'd been meditating for over 30 years. And he felt like a deep well had been dug within him, where day and night sweet water would keep coming out. Sweet bubbles of inspiration would keep coming. And things he'd never heard before, no one had ever told him before. Wisdom kept arising, kept arising. And to some extent, I feel the same way. I feel that a deep well has been dug, a well of resourcefulness, where I can find answers within. And the mind has become less of an enemy and more of a friend. The Buddha said in Dhammapada that no one can harm you. No enemy can harm you, like your own ill-trained mind. And no friend can support you, like your own well-trained mind. So in many ways, the mind has become a friend, and there's a better relationship here. And so in this moment, I'm just feeling a lot of fullness. And I actually want to start by just a lot of gratitude. And so I'd like each one of you also to think of the people that you're grateful for. And I'm going to be saying a few names of important people, teachers in my life. I would like you to also think of the people in your life who you're grateful for. Could be teachers, could be parents. Just tuning into immense gratitude, immense gratitude. For me, Buddha Poornima is about gratitude. So much gratitude. Gratitude to the Buddha. Such a immense valor, willingness to leave behind all the comforts, go and search for something so subtle, there was no guarantee he would find it. Willingness to leave behind all those comforts. Very few can understand this. Tremendous gratitude. Tremendous gratitude. Gratitude to all the monks and all the Sangha, the monk Sangha and the householder Sangha, who's kept these teachings alive and preserved them for us. Enough, they preserved it enough for us that even today, liberation is possible. Even today. The way out of suffering is clear. So immense gratitude to all those teachers, all those monks, all those nuns, all those householders. Immense gratitude to the lineage that I was introduced to. We have teachers in Burma, Webu Sayadaw, and Ledi Sayadaw, and Seaji Ubakhin, and S.N. Goenka, and all the teachers that I first came across these teachings from. My first meditation teachers who were so patient with me. Immense, immense gratitude. All the people who've served and supported the courses I've done. As a young student, I couldn't afford these courses. They were all given free of cost. So grateful. And immense gratitude to Raman Khosla, who really encouraged me and supported me and gave me a scientific way of looking at meditation, answered all my questions so patiently for so many years. Immense, immense gratitude. Gratitude to the Thai forest tradition where I trained. Ajahn Chah and his teacher, Ajahn Man. And then the teacher who ordained me. And all the other teachers in my tradition, Ajahn Brahm especially, Ajahn Jaisaro, Ajahn Nyana Dhammo, Lungpo Lian, Lungpo Tian. I could just go on. So many wonderful teachers. Jack Cornfield, Deepa Ma. Endless gratitude, endless gratitude. So I'm going to be doing some chanting now, and you can listen to this. Some parts of it I'll invite you to chant with me. Other parts you can just listen to. So if you like, you can repeat after me. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. I take refuge in enlightenment. I take refuge in the teachings of enlightenment. I take refuge in the community dedicated to enlightenment. So these are three refuge: Buddhang Saranam Gacchami, Dhammang Saranam Gacchami. Notice Dhammang is different from Dharmang. This is the Pali language. And Sanghang Saranam Gacchami. So we're taking refuge in the Buddha, which actually means to wake up. Of course, it also represents a historical person. It also represents the principle of awakening, enlightenment. And then the teachings that guide us towards that. And then the community that is practicing, that has practiced, is practicing, and will practice. And now I will chant the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, their qualities, and I'll chant this now in Pali. You can just listen to this. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vidyacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarathi sattha deva manussanang buddho bhagavati swakhato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akkaliko ehipassiko apanaiko pachattang veditabbo vinyohiti Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Samijipatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Yadidang chattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala esa bhagavato savaka sangho ahunayya pahunayya dakhinayya anjali karaniya anuttarang punyakhetang lokasati. ये च बुद्धा अतीता च ये च बुद्धा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये बुद्धा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा ये च धम्मा अतीता च ये च धम्मा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये धम्मा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा ये च संघा अतीता च ये च संघा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये संघा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्थि मे शरणं अन्यं बुद्धो मे शरणं वरं नत्थि मे शरणं अन्यं धम्मो मे शरणं वरं नत्थि मे शरणं अन्यं संघो मे शरणं वरं एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सोत्थिते होतु सर्वदा. And now you can chant with me. Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Buddhanubhavena Sada Sothi Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhammanubhavena Sada Sothi Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sanghanubhavena Sada Sothi Bhavantu Te. Beautiful. So I thought it would be nice if we can do some chanting together. Let me see if I can get the screen up for you, and then you can chant along with me. Let me see if I can share my screen. All right, so here we have some chants. All right, so this is the first thing the Buddha said after enlightenment. And I'll read the translation first, and then if you like, you can chant it with me. Through many births, I have wandered in samsara, seeking but not finding. The builder of this house, painful is repeated existence. Householder, you are seen now. You shall build no house again. Your rafters are broken, your ridge pole is shattered. To disillusion goes my mind. Achieved is the destruction of craving. So these are the first verses chanted by the Buddha after awakening. It's like a victory cry, you know. It's like for so long, I have suffered from this unknown ailment. I don't even know what the ailment was. I don't even know why it is coming. Even for physical ailments, we have such a relief when we are finally able to diagnose it and finally able to heal it. Now imagine this gigantic ailment. The Buddha says the greatest disease is birth, because with that comes every other disease. Most of us celebrate birth and cry at death. And the wise ones, like in the Sufi tradition, they celebrate death. When I was a monk and someone would die, they would actually play music and they would actually pass out soft drinks. So grief is different in different countries based on our belief system. All right, so now we're going to chant this, if you like. Chant it after me. This is what the Buddha said right after enlightenment. Anek jati sangsarang sandha visang anibhisang gahkarang gave santo dukkha jati punapunang Gahakarak dittosi, punagehang nakahasi, sabbate phasuka bhagga, gahakutang visankitang, visankharagatang chittang, tanhanang khayamajjaga. Beautiful. Let's see what else we can chant together from here. This is what I chanted a little while back. Itipiso Bhagava Arahang. This is one of the main chants. We pay homage to the Buddha. Such indeed is the Blessed One, worthy, fully self-enlightened, endowed with knowledge and conduct, fortunate, knower of the worlds, the incomparable tamer of trainable men, teacher of gods and men, enlightened and blessed. And these are the qualities of the Dharma. How do you know it's the truth? And the Buddha says that it is visible. Well taught is the Dharma of the Blessed One, visible here and now, not involving time, akaliko. It's always valid. It was valid 2,500 years back. It's valid now. It'll always be valid. Inviting investigation, leading onwards to be experienced by the wise. So we have. Yeah, that was the metta chant. Pinky's asking. Okay, good. And great. And the last one is about the Sangha, right? So the Blessed One's disciples have practiced well. They're practicing uprightly. They're practicing wisely. They're practicing beautifully. And the four pairs of persons, the eight kind of individuals, the four pairs of persons represents those who, in Buddhism, there are four levels to which you wake up. There are four stages in which you wake up. You let go of stuff. It's four stages of letting go, actually. Just want to make sure I'm not missing out on any important chats from all of you. Let's see how it goes. Okay. I want to just see a good chant that we can all do together. This is a nice one. This is the Mangala Sutta. And this is one that's chanted very often. This is very useful for all of us. It reminds us of what leads to blessings. So this is an easy one for us to chant. I hope the translation is here. Translation is not in this book. So I can actually translate it for you. Do I have it in another PDF? One second. Let me just translate it for you because I know the meaning. So basically the Mangala Sutta is how to live a high quality life. It's all the blessings you can have in life, right? And the story goes that there was a conversation which arose among the devas, the gods, of what is truly beneficial, what is truly helpful, what is truly beneficial. And this conversation, there was a lot of confusion in the heavens and on earth and in all the realms, that what leads to a truly beneficial way of living? What are the highest blessings in the world? So the story goes that the Buddha was staying at Jetavana in Shravasti, and a very bright being, like a deva, bright being, you could say an angel, comes and appears. And he says in verse, he asks the Buddha in verse, Bahu deva manussacha mangalani achintayum akankamana sottanam bruhi mangalam uttamam. So he says many devas, divine beings, as well as humans, are very confused and very perplexed about what leads to a wholesome life, what leads to a good life. So can you elaborate and can you elucidate what are the highest benefits? What leads to the highest benefits? And the Buddha also replies in verse, and then he goes on to give the following benefits. Right. So should I quickly give you the meaning? Then we can chant so you know what you're chanting. Asevanacha balanam. So he says, don't associate, number one blessing, don't associate with foolish folks. Panditanancha sevana. Right. So asevanacha balanam, panditanancha sevana. Pandita is a wise person. So don't associate with fools, associate with the wise. This is the first thing the Buddha says. Puja cha pujaniyanam. Those who are worthy of respect, those who are worthy of honor, then you give them honor, you respect them. Etang mangalam uttama. Number one. So the very first blessing, in fact, this is the power of association, right? They say the people you associate with the most, you become just like them. And the Buddha says that 2,500 years back, he says, don't associate with those who have chosen an unwholesome path for themselves, because you're going to become like them, right? Next blessing. Pati rupa desavasocha pubbecha katapunyata. Now, very interesting. He says, live in a suitable country. What's a suitable country? It's a country. You know, there's no country that's perfect. You know, many of us criticize our own country. I mean, I'm calling from India, so we criticize India. But India has so many blessings. You can practice your own religion. You can go to your place of worship, or you can choose to be irreligious if you choose to be. So a place where you can practice. I mean, there are certain countries, certain parts of the world where they're so tight and they control your way of thinking. So live in a suitable place. Ubbecha katapunyata, having done good deeds in the past. You see, the fact that you can attend this call means you put in good deeds in the past. You're living in a suitable environment. You have the internet. You have a phone or a laptop. You've heard about today's session. So when you put yourself on the right course, then good things start happening to you in your life. I can see people are asking questions, but I'm going to get to questions a little later on. So some of you can't see it. It's all right. Just listen to what I'm saying. If you're not able to see what I'm saying, that's fine. Because some of you don't have video, and that's fine, right? And atta samma panidicha, put yourself on the right path. What's the right path? You know what the right path is. Live on a right path which involves gratitude, which involves wholesomeness, which involves self-discipline. Don't dissipate yourself. Use the skills and talents given to you for the highest benefit of all. Put yourself on a path where you're not caught up in concepts so much. A healthy path, a path of awakening, a path of liberation. And we know what binds us, we know what liberates us. Certain habits bind us, certain habits uplift us. Etang mangalam uttama. Bahu satyancha sippancha vinaya cha susikito subhasita cha yavacha etang mangalam uttamam. So to be of wide learning, to be of deep learning, and to have a good sense of, you could say, ethics, right? Vinaya, of course, represents how people conduct themselves, and how do you conduct yourself in a way that you don't hurt and harm others. So a good basic sense of ethics. I was reading a book today where the author said that he was part of a company, and he was very senior in this company. Everyone loved his work, but he saw the company do something very unethical. And that was enough for him. And he raised his hand and said, this is not suitable. And he said, oh, no, let it be. It's not bothering anyone. But he left his job because of that. And that put him on a totally different path. So how strongly can you follow your own ethics, right? And are you of wide learning? Are you of deep learning? Because that learning will support you in your life. Subhasita chaya vacha. I love this. When you speak, does it touch people's hearts? Does it open people's hearts? Or does it hurt people's hearts? So can you learn to speak in a way that is true, and that is kind, and that is necessary? True, kind, and necessary is wholesome speech. Mata pitu upattanam. You know, pay respect and take care of your mother and father. Puttadaras sasangaho anakulachakkam manta etang mangalam uttama. So do your duties towards your parents, towards your children, towards your wife, and all the other people that are related to you. Follow the dharma according to them. Do the right thing. Etang mangalam uttama. Danancha dhammacharyacha. You know, many of us have enough and more than enough. And especially at times like this, can we think about those who are not doing so well, who are not even sure where the next meal is coming from? Danancha dhammacharya. Be generous. Give. When you have more than enough, then give. And of course, don't expect it. But the truth of life is, when you give, you can never fall short. You will always have more than enough. Guru Nanak, was told to look after the fields. And he was told to drive away the birds that came. And he felt such a lot of compassion. These little birds came to eat. And he could not stop the birds from eating. So he said, Guruji ki chidiya, Guruji ka khet, aa meri chidiya, chug chug khet. It is the God's field, and it is God's bird. Come, little bird, eat as much as you like. And there was a bumper harvest. So, danancha dhammacharya, do not stop, do not hold back. Open your heart, be generous. Nyata kanancha sangaho, take care of your relatives as well. Anavajjani kammani etang mangalam uttamam. Don't do anything that the wise would later reproach and say that was not a good thing for you to do. Don't do any such acts. Arati virati papa majjapana cha sanyamo appamado cha dhammesu etang mangalam uttama. So again, stay away from bad habits, and majjapana cha sanyamo. Some of you may not like this, but stay away from intoxicants and things that are addictive, because this dulls your mind, confuses your mind. Appamado cha dhammesu, without delay, and be heedful and Act. When you know something is good, act on it. Practice what is wholesome. Attending a call like this and learning these things. This is Appamado. It's late at night, but many of you are still in this call. Etang mangalam uttamam. Garavacha nivatocha. Santuddhi cha katanyuta. Kalena dhammas savanam. Etang mangalam uttamam. I'm forgetting what Garavocha Nivatocha means, but Santutti, as you can imagine, is contentment, and Katanyuta means gratitude. I love that word, Katanyuta. Kalena Dhamma Savanam, at the right time. And today is the right time. It's Buddha Poornima, and we are listening to wholesome teaching. Dhamma. At the right time, listen to wholesome teachings. Etang Mangalam Uttamam. Khanti cha sovachasata samananancha dasanam. Khanti means patience. Samananancha dasanam. Associate with those who put themselves on a good path, who are not just running after worldly things. Nothing wrong in running after worldly things, but don't run mindlessly. Come back and remember what you're looking for outside is actually there inside. You can still have goals and things like that, but remember it's part of the adventure of life. So follow those and spend time with those who also dedicated their lives to this inner search. Samananancha dasanam. Kalena dhamma sakacha. At the right time, have a discussion. The earlier one was dhamma savanam, to listen. Sakacha is to have a discussion, because learning also happens through discussion. And discuss these things toward the end of the call. I'll also take your question. We can have some discussion. Etan mangalam uttamam. Tapot brahmacharyancha. Tapot, tapasya. Put in the effort, practice. Brahmacharyancha, raise your consciousness to that of the Brahmas. Have the acharan of a Brahma. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha. Ariya Satchana Dasanam, Four Noble Truths. There is discomfort and suffering in this world. There are the cause of this discomfort and suffering. There is an ending of the cause, and there is a way to end the cause. The four teachings of the Buddha, the four primary teachings of the Buddha. Nibbana Satchikiriyacha. Nibbana, the ending of suffering. Right now, everybody, wherever you are, can you become desireless for exactly 2 seconds? Can you drop all desires for 2 to 5 seconds? Try again. That's a mini nirvana right there, right? What is the purpose of desire? The purpose of desire is the ending of desire. We want the desire so we can end the desire. And what's it like to come from that place of I'm already whole and complete? And I can still do things, but not from a place of incompleteness. I do things from a place of completeness. Fascinating. Nibbana, ending of burning. Putta saloka, my favorite. Putta saloka dammehi chittang yassana kampati asokang virajang khemang etang mangalamuttamam. When the winds of life hit you, and now they're hitting everybody, right? Lockdown is going on. So putta saloka dhammehi, unpleasant things are happening, wanted things are not happening, unwanted things are happening. People who praised you are now blaming you. People who held you up are now pulling you down. Sickness, old age, suffering, all this is happening. Chittang yassana kampati, the mind does not tremble. The mind is not afraid. Asokang, no sadness. Virajang, stainless. Hemang, unshakable, secure. Etang mangalamuttamam. Eta disani katvana, those who do this. Sabbattama parajita, wherever they go, they cannot be conquered. They can go anywhere in the world. They are inconquerable. They are invincible. Sabbatta sothing gachanti tang te sang mangalam uttamanti. Beautiful. And those who practice like this are always victorious and happy wherever they go. We're going to chant this. Those of you who can join me, chant along with me. Want to chant behind me? What's the right way to do this? Or should I just chant? I think you can just chant along with me to the extent, otherwise it's going to take a long time. Okay, so just chant along with me. Evang me sutang mean the first few lines mean, thus have I heard. All sutras start with these three words. Evang me sutang, it's an oral tradition. The Buddha's teachings have been passed on from generation to generation. All right, so I'll chant a little bit slower, see if you can join, otherwise just listen. Evang me sutang, ekang samayang bhagava savatthiyang viharati jetavane anatapendikas arame अथको अन्यतरा देवता अभिकंताय रत्तिया अभिकंता वन्ना केवल कप्पं जेतवनं ओभासित्वा येन भगवा तेन उपसंखमित्वा भगवन्तं अभिवादित्वा एकमन्तं अट्ठासि एकमन्तं तिथा खोसा देवता भगवन्तं गाथाय Ajabhasi. Now this is what the Devata say. The first verse is by the Devata. Bahudeva manusacha mangalani achintayam Akankamana Suttanam Bruhi Mangalamuttamam. Another Buddha responds. Asevana cha balanang panditanang cha sevana puja cha pujaneyanang etang mangalamuttamam. Patirupa desavaso cha pubbe cha katapunyata attha samma panidhi cha etan mangalamuttamam. Bahu satchancha sippancha vinayo cha susikhito subhasita cha yavacha etang mangalamuttamam. Mata pitu upattanang puttadarasa sangaho anakula chakamanta etang mangalamuttamam. Danancha dhammacharyancha nyatakanancha sangaho anavajjani kammani etang mangalamuttamam. Arati virati papa majjapana cha sanyamo appamado cha dhammesu etang mangalamuttamam. Garavo cha nivato cha santutti cha katanyuta kalena dhammasavanang etang mangalamuttamam. Khanti cha sovachasata samananang cha dasanang kalena dhammasakacha etang mangalamuttamam. Tapo cha brahmacharyan cha arya satchana dasanang nibbana satchikiriya cha etang mangalamuttamam. Puttassa loka dammehi chittang yassana kampati asokang virajang khemang etang mangalamuttamam. Etadisani katvana sabbhattama parajita sabbhatta sothing gachanti tang te sang mangalamuttamam. So beautiful. I feel like chanting a little bit from the Dhammapada, and I'll also translate. Some people think the Dhammapada is the main book of Buddhism. That's actually not true. Buddhist literature is encyclopedic, probably bigger than the Encyclopedia Britannica. And the Dhammapada is one small book of verses which is a subset of the Sutta Nipata. The Sutta Nipata is another book, but basically it's a small minor collection. So Dhammapada is by no means the only teaching of the Buddha, but it is the most famous one. So since most people have heard of this, I'm going to chant from a few of the chapters. The first two verses are some of my favorites. They kind of summarize everything. Manopabangama dhamma manosetha manomaya manasa chepaduttena bhasati va karoti va tato nang dukkham anaveti chakkhum va vahato padam. What does it mean? Manopabangama dhamma. Mind is the predecessor. Mind comes first. Mind precedes all other things. All things are manomaya. They're mind-made. If with an impure mind, a person speaks or acts. What's an impure mind? You know what an impure mind is. Your mind is defiled. Your mind is unsettled. From that state, from an emotionally activated state, when you speak and you act, then suffering follows such a person. Just like the ox, wherever it goes, the ox cart and the wheel of the ox cart follows this ox. The ox doesn't know why it's so heavy. Wherever it goes, it's so heavy. Life is so heavy. Why? Because you're thinking, speaking, and acting from an impure mind. Now, right away, there is a solution. Manopabangama dhamma manosetha manomaya manasache pasannena bhasati va karoti va tato nang sukhamanaveti chayava anapayini. Mind precedes all minds, all mental states. Mind is the chief. Everything is mind-made. If with a pure mind, right? Pasannena. How beautiful. With a pure mind, a person speaks or acts. Happiness follows such a person, like his never departing shadow. You see, your shadow has got no weight, and yet it's always there. No one has to check, is my shadow gone? Hey, what happened to my poor little shadow? Shadow is there. And so, with a pure mind, with a pure heart, every time you speak and act, of course, you think first, mind comes first. And you speak and you act, happiness follows you everywhere. Akkochi mang avadhi mang ajjani mang ahasime ye chatang upanayhanti verang te sang nasammati. He abused me, he struck me, he overpowered me, he robbed me. Those who harbor such thoughts cannot still their hatred. Akkochi mang avadhi mang ajjini mang ahasime ye cha tan na upanayhanti verante supasammati. He abused me, he struck me, he overpowered me, he robbed me. Those who do not harbor such thoughts still their hatred. You know, there was a not too long back a convict on death row in the US, and he was known to be a very violent man, and he had been put into solitary confinement many times because of his violent behavior. And one time again, he'd been up to some mischief, and they put him into solitary confinement. He knew he was going to be alone in this room for a long time. So before they put him in, he said, I'm allowed a book. I'm allowed a book. And the warden, without even looking, he just grabbed a book and said, take that, you animal. And he threw a book inside. And he's stuck with this book for the next 10 days in solitary confinement. The book happens to be Dhammapada. And he's stuck with the teachings of the Buddha. He's stuck with the Buddha for about 10 days in complete solitary confinement. All he gets is food, nothing else. And he begins reading these lines. And then he sits and cries. He cries for days and days and days. And he comes out a totally transformed person. And then he contacts, at the back of the book, there's an address. He contacts them and says, can you send me more books? Can you send me instruction on how to meditate? And he goes through such a profound transformation that everyone, it is the prison authorities and his fellow prisoners and the other people, they all say, please pardon him, please pardon him. He's a changed man, he's a changed man. So the last time, I think they finally did put him to death, but he went so peacefully. So this is the power. A death row prisoner who's been violent his whole life. Simple words like this can transform. This is the power of the Buddha's teaching. Nahi verena verani sammantidha kudachanang averena cha sammanti esa dhammo sanantano. Hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. This is the eternal law. Parecha navijjanti maya mitha yamamase ye cha tatha vijananti tato sammanti medaga. And this is a powerful one. There are those who do not realize that one day we must all die. But those who do realize this settle their quarrels. You know, in Banaras, they have hostels that people go to die. And there was an interview with one of these hostels, the warden of one of these hostels, the caretaker, and he had witnessed 12,000 deaths. And there's a list somewhere on the internet you can find, you know, what I learned from 12,000 deaths. And one of the things he learned is at the end of their life, people just want to forgive and be forgiven. They want to forgive and be forgiven. But often it's too late. They're not able to contact these people right at the end of their life. So please don't put things off. When you realize that life is so, you know, your biggest enemy, if he's right now in front of you, if you know he's going to die that day, will you still hold on to your grudge? You say, come on, it's all right. Now, whatever happened has happened. You die peacefully. The truth is, we don't know when we're going to die. We don't know how much time we have. Ah, so beautiful. Let's have a little meditation. So please sit comfortably. Have a little meditation now. All right. So sitting comfortably, you can close your eyes if you like. Oh, that's nice. Somebody, Viraj, found that was quick, Viraj. You found the actual link to that interview. All right, so go ahead and you can close your eyes if you like. It's Buddha Poornima. So more than ever, the energies of awakening, enlightenment, all the support is available to you on this call. Everyone on this call is here with you. I'm here with you. All your teachers are here with you. Nibbana Dhatu is here with you. Enlightenment is beckoning. Come, come, come. It's not in the future. It's right here. It's right here. It's closer than you think. It's before you think. I wonder what my next thought will be. So I'm going to teach you one of the most powerful meditations that I know. You've got to really get into this. Got to really get into this, and it's going to be immensely powerful. It's the perfect day to do this meditation. So now all distractions are put away. Be with me 100%. You are seated under a beautiful tree. It's a Bodhi tree. And it's minutes before your full liberation. It's minutes before the entire mystery is going to be revealed. The entire mystery of who you are, what this life is. How come you're here? How come things are the way they are? The entire inner mystery is about to be revealed. Not to you, but as you. It's not separate from you. Now go ahead, put yourself there. Don't honor the Buddha, be the Buddha. And meditate like this with me. Empty yourself. Empty yourself. Are you willing to empty yourself that much of who you think you are, who you believe you are? Are you willing to jump off the cliff of the known and spread your wings into the unknown? Can you feel the conviction, the determination of the Buddha who sits under this tree saying, I shall sit here until I realize the truth. And if my legs have to wither away, if my body has to wither away, so be it. I shall sit here until I realize the truth and nothing less than the truth. Can you feel that heroic attitude of the Buddha? And now let it happen. And remember, your mind doesn't have to understand this. It's going to happen anyway. What needs to be realized and revealed is being realized, is being revealed. A whole new dimension of consciousness is consolidating itself, integrating itself, making itself available and known, starting now. Open yourself wider, wider. Just receive. Nothing has to be done. Just open and receive. The beautiful, the beautiful. Realization of truth. Would you be willing to forget who you think you are, what you think you know, and what you think you're capable of right now? Forget it and open even wider and let the Buddha take over. Let the awakening take over. Let the wisdom take over. It's taking over. A beautiful Buddha seed has been planted in the very center of the heart. And definitely, a beautiful lotus will arise from the seed. Nothing can stop this lotus from arising. No matter how muddy your life, how muddy your existence, no mud, no lotus. This beautiful Buddha seed shall prevail no matter what your circumstances, no matter what your life history, no matter what your imagined sins and failures and disappointments. This beautiful Buddha seed that has been planted is bound to flourish. Nothing can stop this from happening. With this deep conviction, this deep gratitude that you are now irreversibly on the path to illumination, irreversibly on the path to self-knowledge, self-realization, self-actualization, full embodiment, full enlightenment. Gratitude for this Buddha seed that is so happily germinating in the center of your being. Now I'm going to chant what the Buddha chanted right after his enlightenment. Anek jati sangsarang sandhave sang anebhisang gahkarangave santo dukkha jati punapunang gahkarak dethosi punagehang nakahasi sabbate phasuka bhagga gahkutang visankhitang visankharagatang chittang tanhanam khayamajjaga. Through many births, I have wandered in samsara, seeking but not finding the builder of this house. Painful is repeated existence. House builder, you are now seen. You shall build no houses again. Your rafters are broken, your ridgepole is shattered. To disillusion goes the mind. Achieved is the destruction of suffering, of craving. So beautiful. So beautiful, everybody. Awesome. Let me show you a few photographs from my monk life. Maybe some of you will enjoy that. Put this on full screen. This is Ajahn Mun. He is the one who inspired monks to go back, and because monks had become, and this happens from time to time, they'd become very lazy. They were receiving patronage from the kings of Thailand. They were living very comfortable lives. And the Ajahn Mun said, no, this way of comfort and luxury is not the way the Buddha taught. So he began a movement, he along with others began a movement of going back to the forest, the dense forest, to meditate. And he and his monks would seek out forests filled with tigers and other wild animals. Because in places like that, you can't fool yourself. When the tiger roaring, you can't fool yourself. There's no place to run to, there's no place to hide. So either you're gonna have a panic attack, or you're gonna get really firm in your meditation objects. And so, great heroic teacher Ajahn Mun and his teacher Ajahn Sao, his teacher and him are the ones who kind of really inspired the modern forest tradition. This is my teacher Ajahn Chah, very wonderful teacher, talked a lot about his own limitations and didn't try to make himself appear like a great holy person. He talked about having all the doubts, all the challenges, all the lust, and still being able to, my earphone's running out of battery. Main quality is that he never gave up. He was persistent. Persistence. I want to ask him, what's your advice for beginning meditators? said, it's the same advice I give experience.
Almost all his teachings are. You can't hear me? Almost all his teachings. Did you miss something that I said? Let me check. Oh, you couldn't hear me for a bit. Okay, okay. Maybe now you can hear me. Okay. So what I was saying was that I think it was last slide. We can go to Ajahn Mun, who was basically a wonderful teacher who inspired the modern forest tradition. And he and his teacher Ajahn Sao are the ones who inspired it. And here we have Ajahn Chah, who was my teacher. Ajahn Chah, who I consider my teacher. I actually never met him, but I still consider him my teacher because he's been a big influence in my practice. And Ajahn Chah is someone who really talked about his own shortcomings a lot. And he said how he was able to overcome his tremendous doubt, his tremendous lust, his tremendous sense of doubting every teacher, every person, including himself. And he was able to overcome that by sheer persistence. Somebody asked him, what do you teach? What's your teaching for new meditators? He says the same teaching for old meditators. Keep at it. Persistence. So many things I've learned. And you can find, just search for Ajahn Chah. Ajahn is spelled Ajahn, Chah. And his teachings are all his books are freely available online. You'd love his teachings. A lot of people have thanked me for his teachings, but I'm thankful to him for his teachings. This is the teacher who ordained me, Lumpur Liam. And very beautiful. A monk of few words, didn't speak much, but profound example. And one fun thing about him is that he was known to be an expert of out-of-body travel, astral travel. So there were many times where we would be up to some, not exactly mischief, but we would basically be, doing a little bit that we're not supposed to be, like monks, maybe having more tea in the evening than we're supposed to have, or some snack than we're supposed to have. And he would casually mention, what was going on over there? And he's living in a different monastery, and he'd casually mention. So we had to be very alert. You never know what he was picking up on. And can you recognize a handsome monk? That was me in my, I think, 4th or 5th year of the monk. Let me see if I can get your chat. Some of you are typing something. Yeah. Ajahn Chah. Ajahn is spelled Ajahn. Ajahn Chah. Just search for him online. You'll find his website, lots of free books and things. Yeah, Ajahn Chah, you got it. So yeah, this is my monastery. This is morning chanting, waking up at about 3 o'clock. Morning chanting. Yoso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vejja Charana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu. That's morning chanting. Check out Ajahn Brahm. Yeah, thanks Ajanta for sharing that. That's great. Ajahn Brahm is one of the most famous students of Ajahn Chah. Morning chanting. In fact, this photograph is most likely, it's either a full moon or a new moon. We meditate all night on full moon and new moon. So this is probably one of those nights, if I'm not mistaken. Unless it's early morning. It could also be early morning. You see on the wall over here, all the great monks, their photographs are put up on that wall. A lot of stories about each of those monks, all great forest masters. So after morning chanting and meditation, we clean the meditation hall, put on our robes, walk to the neighboring villages, and people would share with us. Oh, we have someone from Melbourne, Australia. you're practicing at 3 a.m. That's the time the monks wake up. Well done. Welcome, Daki. Welcome. So yeah, we walk through the villages, and people share. Which monastery is this from? This monastery, my monastery is Wat Pa Nana Chat. Let me type it out for you. Wat. Go here. Wat Pa Nana Chat. You can Google it. You'll find their website. And we walk through the villages. People would give us food. This is Ajahn Jayasaro, famous, wonderful monk, British monk. He's such a handsome monk that he would not allow his photos to be printed anywhere because too many women would have a crush on him. It's a rare photograph of Ajahn Jaisaro. Bhargav is asking, when do you go to sleep? You can go to sleep anytime as long as you wake up at 3. There's no time limit for sleeping. Walk through the village. I was in an international monastery, so you have monks. I had many teachers. Someone's asking the name of my teacher. But Ajahn Chah would be the main teacher, and then Ajahn Jaisaro, Ajahn Jnanadhammo, Ajahn Brahm, these are some of the teachers. Ajahn Sumedho, some of the teachers. Ajahn means Acharya. Acharya goes to Thailand, becomes Ajahn. Beautiful. Someone's asking me about my encounter with Mahavatar Babaji. I never had an encounter with him, but one of the first books I read was Autobiography of a Yogi, and I would chant Mahavatar Babaji's name. So yeah, he would come in my dreams, and he guided me in various ways. So definitely, yes. We'd come back from the walk, and then the food that we'd collected would be taken to the kitchen area. Because some of us go to big villages, some go to small villages. And everybody would share the food. The bananas would go in one tray, rice would go in one tray. It would all be put out like this. And then all the monks would line up, and we'd serve ourselves the food. We ate once a day. What made you leave all this? I think I should go back, isn't it, Ranjana? You people are troubling me too much. I want to go back. Well, you can all go and visit and go and spend some time there. And you don't have to become a monk for that. Everybody can go and practice. Someone saying, no, please don't go. Someone saying, take me along. Where is this monastery? This monastery is in Thailand. And so after the monks, all the guests come and take food. Then we do a morning blessing chant. You want to hear the blessing chant we do in the morning? Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sagaran evameva ito dinang petanang upakapati ichitang pakitang tuihan khepameva samicchatu sabbe purentu sankappa chando panaraso yatha manijotiraso yatha sabhitiyo vivajantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi diga yugo bhava Abhivadana silis nichang vada pachayino chattaro dhamma vadanti ayu anno sukham balam. It's a blessing chant, and we're blessing everyone who gave us the food, including their relatives, their ancestors, the deceased. And we're saying that may you have ayu vanna sukha bala. Ayu is long life, quality of life, and long life. Vanna is good complexion. Sukha is happiness, and bala is strength. All right, that's me chanting in the middle with my fellow monks. And then we clean our bowls. You're supposed to treat our bowl like it's a Buddha's head. So a good monk, their bowl will last them their lifetime. They keep it well. Wash it well, dry it well. That's us drying our bowls. And we keep it to dry so that it ventilates, so there's no rust that forms. Then we do our duties, and even the visitor, this little boy is visiting, he's also doing everyone's helping out. So we do the duties, keep the monastery clean, sweep the monastery. It's a big monastery, so it takes a while to sweep everything. Yeah, Pratap, we'll do Mangal Maitri before we finish. I have someone asking me if I still have my bowl. I don't have my original bowl because I gave it to another monk, but I do have another bowl which is also a monk bowl. But I've never used it as a monk. So the word Dhamma, someone's asking about Dhamma and Dharma. Dharma is a Sanskrit word and Dhamma is a Pali word. That's the only difference, Kunal. Thank you, Prashanti. Happy Buddhi Poornima to everybody. Yes, Ajahn Kevali is now the how do you know Ajahn Kevali? Ajahn Kevali is now the abbot of Wat Pa Nanachat. And he was a few years senior to me. Yes, so I know him well. Yeah, so we do our duties. This was the hut of my teacher that I cleaned for over a year. I did all the duties that maids do in India, cleaning toilets and dusting and mopping and taking away the cobwebs. And it was good for me to do that. But in India, we're so used to, of course, now in lockdown, we're all doing it. But in India, we're so used to other people doing this for us. So it just taught me the dignity of labor, right? To spend an hour or so every day cleaning his hut. Someone's asking, what is the ultimate truth that the Buddha was enlightened with? You have to find out, Shweta, how can I tell you the ultimate truth? But one thing is for sure, uh, it is not a conceptual truth. So it's not something which anything you can say is not it, right? It can point towards it, but it's not it. So one way of pointing towards it would be when seeing, like right now, when you're hearing me, just hear. When seeing, just see. And feeling, just feel. Go with direct experience without adding or subtracting from it. This would be a good hint for you. That's me as a novice monk. It was my duty to prepare tea in the evenings. We ate once a day, but we had an evening tea break, which of course we all look forward to. There were teachings on the, someone asked me, do I know the Tibetan yogi? I don't know him, Milarepa, but one of my greatest inspirations. Milarepa, the great inspiration, definitely. Some of the other inhabitants of our monastery. Someone's asking, is it possible for normal people like us to go to the monastery? Yeah, different monasteries. In my monastery, you had to write and get permission. You had to stay for a minimum number of days. But there are many monasteries that are far more friendly towards people to come. My monastery was really designed for serious practitioners, those who wanted to be monks. So we didn't like too many visitors. But most monasteries, if you write to them, they'll let you come for some time. He would give food to the squirrels. I was trying to be a very authentic monk, so I wasn't using. Someone's asking, was Goenka, SN Goenka a monk? He was not. I don't think. Did he ordain for a short while? I don't think so. I don't think he was a monk. He was definitely a householder. I don't know if he ordained for a short while. My feeling is no. But his teacher, Sayagyu Bakin, did. It's quite common in Buddhist countries to ordain for a short while. This is how we wash our robes. We take the jackfruit tree and the heartwood. We make chips and we boil it. And then this becomes the dye that dyes our robes. These are monks in training. These are not monks yet. They're called pakaus, white-robed, homeless ones who are training to become monks. And then we'd sew our own robes. So I actually learned how to sew. I was actually pretty good at it. I think I've forgotten now. And we'd learn to live outdoors as well, like this. Someone's asking, why did I leave my monastic life? For the same reason I became a monk. I was guided to become a monk, inner guidance. There comes a point in the practice where the heart tells itself what to do. So the heart said, become a monk. And at one point, the heart said, now this is complete, move on. And I just followed. And that may not make sense to everybody, but that's all right. Some of the huts in our monastery. This is walking meditation. So we don't just sit and meditate, we also walk and meditate. So you see these candles? Those yellow things are candles that light up at night. And the subtle competition is who puts their candles off last. So who meditates longest? This is the women's section of my monastery. This is a very fancy building someone made, which some of the monks are quite embarrassed about. But this is where we do every 2 weeks, we chant all our monk rules. And we recite there are 227 rules for monks. We recite the rules and we confess if we've not abided by any of those rules. And this is a deep forest. This is the only building in a very large forest radius. We'd go here for 3 months at a time. If you can recognize, I'm somewhere in this photo. I doubt you can recognize. On the rightmost is me, sitting on the rightmost. Bottom right, you got it. Kushi, you got it. Women can come and visit. Women can't become. There's a whole thing in Buddhism where not all countries accept nuns. So some of them believe the nun tradition has ended. But Taiwan is one country, and then from there, Sri Lanka to some extent. Nuns can still practice. Women can still practice, but they can't often become nuns. There's the whole historical reason behind that in Buddhism. The last nun died some centuries back, and there's a controversy whether you can have nuns or not. It's a bigger discussion. Yeah, so we train in the deep forest like this. I found this cartoon. Is it proper for a monk to use email? Sure, as long as there are no attachments. That's Ajahn Chah. That's Ajahn Jayasaro with Ajahn Jnanadhammo, my first acharyas, 2 of them. This is where Ajahn Chah's, when he was cremated. This is very interesting. This is a phenomenon known with some saints. When they're cremated, their remains take on a very special appearance. So in Ajahn Chah's case, you see the glass thing in the center? His remains took on a mother of pearl coral-like appearance. And so these are called Sharirika Dhatu. So for someone who's awakened, enlightened, there is a belief, and not a belief, but you can actually go and see it, that their body becomes so purified, the elements of the body get so purified that when they're cremated, interesting phenomena happen. This teacher, for example, I knew him, Ajahn Panyavado, one of the most senior British foreign monks. When he passed away, when he was cremated, there was a rainbow around the sun at the exact time he was cremated. It was seen by thousands of people. Yeah, so, and funerals are very common. We meditate on death. This is a skull, the skeleton in my monastery. We would meditate on the skeleton, reminding ourselves that, you know what, there's one right here, there's a skeleton right here. Someone's asking, can monks marry? You would like to marry a monk, wouldn't you, Prashant? But no luck there. Monks don't marry. And, except unless you're a Japanese or a Japanese monk, because the emperor forced all the monks to marry. So the priests in Japan marry. And in some Tibetan sects they marry, but they're not really monks. They're more like priests. Who took all these pictures? This is a collection of pictures from the website, and also some of them my brother took when he visited me. All right, because I think this is Sri Lanka. I was in Sri Lanka for a while. You have had a glimpse of my monk life. This is a cave. This is in the US. I was teaching for a while in the US. This is one of the lectures I gave at, which is this one? I think Columbia University. Ta-da! I think we're done. Let me look at some of your questions. There's some questions here. Curious, what language are the chants? The chants are in Pali language. Adda Magadi, more accurately, Pali language. This is the language the Buddha spoke. Kunal, how is Dhamma different from Dharma? I've answered that question, Kunal. It's the same. It's a different language. What are the Lotus Sutras? Lotus Sutras are the Mahayana Sutras, which are these are teachings which have been inspired by the Buddha, which came after the Buddha. Now, there's a controversy, of course. Some would say the Buddha spoke these teachings. Historians would agree that these are teachings which came after the Buddha. But again, what is the Buddha, right? Is Buddha only is he a physical entity, or is he a divine being? So in Mahayana, you have a concept of Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya, which means the Buddha is not just a physical body. The Buddha also can continue to teach after death and after his parinirvana, right? He is a principle which continues to teach. So Lotus Sutras are Mahayana Sutras, which came. So Theravada, which is the tradition I belong to, or rather practiced in, don't belong to any tradition. That looks at the teachings of the historical Buddha. Mahayana looks at the example of the Buddha and tries to be like the Buddha. And Vajrayana says you're already a Buddha. So the meditation we did a while back was a Vajrayana kind of meditation, where you saw yourself as the Buddha. And in that moment, whatever needed to be done was done. So those are Lotus Sutras, Mahayana Sutra. Ajahn Chah, yeah, I think I spelled out his name. I can type it out for you again. How can I type this? Oh, I'm not able to type it. So Ajahn, Ajahn, that's how you spell his name. Is it okay to doze off while meditating? And you will. I mean, you can't control that. So if you doze off, you just doze off. Don't make it a habit though, otherwise you'll be sleeping every time. So you can meditate with open eyes. You can stand and meditate. You can try all of these things. What is the reason behind saying beautiful all the time? I love how you say that. I think it's just a habit of mine. I say beautiful and wonderful all the time. And if you keep saying beautiful, wonderful, life becomes beautiful. Life becomes wonderful. Right? Because as the thinker thinks, the prover proves. Yatha drishti tatha shrishti. Anju. So in the monastery, there are regular monks and visitors. I'm not sure what you mean by regular monks. But yeah, there are monks and visitors as well. I mean, if you're asking, I mean, there are broadly three kinds of monks. There are temple monks, there are scholarly monks, and there are forest monks. And you can distinguish them by the kind of clothes they wear. This is like, you got to have a bit of a trained eye by the way they wear their robes and some other characteristics, you know. Basically, temple monks are they're more like, their life is spent more in social work and social service. They're more available. Scholarly monks' life is spent more in academia, language learning, subtle analysis of scriptures, learning other religions, giving commentaries, books, lectures. Forest monks focus more on meditation and meditation practice, tend to live more in secluded places, away from cities. But every monk has an important role to play. All are important. Do you teach and take students? I mean, not for particular courses, but overall as a student to facilitate the path. I don't really take students, but I'm happy to share what I've learned. And if people can take advantage of that, they're welcome to. I don't see myself as a guru. I see myself as a Kalyana Mitra, which is what the Buddha called himself also. Kalyana Mitra is a friend in people's benefit and welfare. I would love for people to learn from many teachers, don't just learn from me. And in the end, have only one guru, this one. Let the inner guru be the Sadguru, be the true guru. So there are people who join me in various online and other courses and retreats and things, but I don't really see myself as a guru. So in that sense, I don't take students. But yes, in a conventional sense, that right now if I'm teaching, then all right. So right now for the conventional purposes, yes, you're a student for a little while, but you're not my student. You're a student of the truth. And so am I actually. So am I a student of the truth. This is a very, very important question. Sanjay, I've missed your question. I'm not sure which one it is. Harsh says, please speak on Rakhantu Sabba Devata. Did Buddha believe in ghosts and devatas? The Buddha did not believe. The Buddha spoke from experience. So he realized that there are subtle beings as well. And just because you can't see them doesn't mean they don't exist. So the short answer to your question is yes. There are, at least in the Buddhist cosmology, there's not only human realm, there is animal realm, there is ghost realm, there is hell realm. These all also correspond to mind states, by the way. Right? And there is also Devic realm, there's Brahmic realm, and then there is what is beyond all realms. And you can cycle through these realms, right? And the idea of the Buddhist teaching is to, and by the way, you don't have to believe in all of this. Your own experience will guide you. You will know from your own experience as you get more subtle in your practice. Like I'll give you my own example. When I began meditating, my teacher asked me to notice that at the end of the practice, when we radiate good wishes, loving wishes, notice if the wind changes. And so often I notice, we had these little bells hanging outside, like a wind chime kind of thing. And so often I noticed at the end of our 1 hour practice, we would radiate loving wishes. And the wind chime would start moving just at that time, more than any other time. Because devas are mostly made of water element and air element. We are more gross, so we have a lot of earth elements, so you can see each other. Even devas have earth element, but very subtle earth element. So they're mostly air element, water element. And therefore you can't really see them. They're quite invisible. And so this is something you should experience for yourself and not just take my word for it. So Buddhist cosmology does include, and I wouldn't say he believed it, he knew it. In fact, the Mangala Sutra we read was the Deva asking him that question, not a human being. I've had some experiences, but that's another story. Can monks travel by air? Buddhist monks can travel. You mean levitate? Or do you mean travel by? Buddhist monks are allowed to travel overseas and they can travel by flight. But Jain monks have strong restrictions and they tend to remain in the country. So this is a different belief system and how you do things. Can a householder live a simple life with all the responsibilities allowed, with all compassion, and thrive in a capitalist planet? Well, do the best you can. It's, one of the important teachings is you are not in the world is in you. Even the Buddha says this, the world is in you. So you change your focus point and you will instantly inhabit a different world. If you keep on seeing the news all the time and getting caught up in all of that, even I sometimes watch the news, that's fine. But if you keep up focusing on human affairs, then you'll be conditioned by human belief systems. But if you start focusing more on wisdom teachings and abide in the Sangha, the people who are truth seekers, you will literally, in the so-called capitalist planet, you will live in a bubble, which is a Satyug. You will live in a beautiful little bubble that is all of your own. So we create our we create our universe. We're not bound by this universe. So please realize that. Very, very powerful. We're all immensely powerful. Could you please talk about Maitreya? But Maitreya is supposed to be the next Buddha. So there are, in one eon, there are supposed to be, in this particular, the Bhadda eon, this is the Bhadda Kappa. This is a very blessed eon where you have 5 Buddhas. And Gautama Buddha was the 4th. Siddhartha Gautama was the 4th. There's one more to come, Arya Maitreya. He's not coming anytime soon, but he will come in the future. And some people they dedicate their practice to be born along with him in the Devic realm that he's in now. So they can be reborn with him in that lifetime. And this is a belief system. And this is a practice for many people. So yeah, I don't know too much about Arya Maitreya, but it's so beautiful to know that there is so much help available. And you can meditate on Maitreya and get help as well. How long were you a monk for? I was a monk for 6 years. Did you ever get homesick? I got homesick in the first few months. Not exactly homesick, but I doubted myself. Into the third month, I really had one day when there was tremendous pangs of doubt, and I almost gave up. But we have to face our inner demons. So I stuck it. I stayed there, and then after that, I was not really homesick. I was never really homesick. Short answer. I felt at home wherever I was. Please speak on the Eightfold Path and also on the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum. So we have 2 minutes left. So I'm going to give you the shortest possible version of the Eightfold Path, which is what the Buddha said to an old lady who came to him and said, I don't understand all these complicated teachings. Can you tell it to me simply? And the Buddha said it so beautiful. Sabba papas akaranam kusalas upasampada sachitte pariyodapanam etam mangalam uttamam. Sabba papas akaranam, by words and action. Don't do anything wholesome. Don't do anything that creates strife and suffering for others. First one. It's already a big enough job. It's not easy to live our life without hurting others, but let's do our best. Sabba papas akaranam. So part of the Noble Eightfold Path is this, right? It's your actions, right speech, right action, right livelihood. Let me not hurt and harm other beings. Kusalas upasampada. Upasampada, sampada, your gain, gather up all that is wholesome. And what is really wholesome? A mind that lives in the present, a mind that is filled with gratitude, filled with compassion, filled with love, filled with equanimity. Develop qualities of the mind by being present. Meditate, get into a mindful habit of living, right? This is kusalasa upasampada. Sachitte pariyo dapanam, purify the mind. And how do you purify the mind? Whatever arises, let it arise. Let it pass away, arising and passing away. So let it bubble up and pass away. So witnessing the mind, witnessing the emotion, not getting so caught up in them. And in this witnessing, in this watching, in this awareness, everything gets purified. Awareness is the best thing that will guide you home. And Om Mani Padme Hum also means that Om, homage, Mani, the jewel, Padme, the lotus, Hum, in the heart of. I pay homage to the jewel in the heart of the lotus. What is this jewel in the heart of the lotus? When the lotus fully blossoms, the jewel in the heart of the lotus, nothing. At the center of the lotus, nothing, and therefore everything. So nothing and everything. So I pay homage to the emptiness in the heart of all existence. Behind all these things, you say, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a spiritual teacher, I've done this, I've done that. It's all so empty. It's so empty. Because in one sense, I'm not any of that. Only in some superficial sense, I am. So looking beyond all these empty words that we make, all these empty concepts, these empty identities, these empty roles and responsibilities, you look past that and you recognize, nothing and everything. And when you recognize I'm a nobody and I'm an everybody, now you can play the game of being a somebody in a very nice way, in a very beautiful way, without getting hung up anymore. So you're like a lotus leaf. You're in, but you're not off. You're in the world, but you're not off the world. Lotus leaf, lotus flower. Beautiful example of these teachings. All right, everybody. So I know there are many more questions, but we shall have to wait for another time. Thank you all for joining today's call. I know I've missed answering some of your questions, but thank you for joining. Thank you for being part of this. And let me end with the Mangal Maitri. Somebody requested, loving wishes for all. If you want, you can chant with me. Beautiful chant, spreading happiness for everybody. All right. Please repeat after me. Mera Mangal, Mera Mangal. Mera Mangal ho re. Tera Mangal, Tera Mangal. Tera Mangal ho re. Sabhi ka Mangal, Sabhi ka Mangal. Sabhi ka Mangal ho re. Jana Jana Mangala, Jana Jana Mangala. Jana Jana Sukhiya ho Vere. दसों दिशाओं के सब प्राणी मंगल लाभी हों मेरे। तेरा मंगल, तेरा मंगल, मेरा मंगल, मेरा मंगल। सभी का मंगल, सभी का मंगल। सभी का मंगल हो मेरे। समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। All right, everybody, thank you. And I definitely have a sense that a very powerful, very pure Buddha seed has been planted in all your hearts for joining today on Buddha Poornima. Infinite blessings to each one of you, infinite blessings to your entire path, your entire journey. And I really feel that beautiful blessings have come through today's session. All my teachers, all my inspirations, all my masters, all those who have given me the confidence to walk on this path and to share the thing that I've shared with you today. Infinite blessings, infinite gratitude. And whatever you've learned today, you obviously may not remember everything, but if even one thing stayed with you, one idea, one principle, one practice, then bring it into your life. This dharma becomes real by practicing, not just by listening, not just by discussing, but by application, right? So I'll be sharing this video also on different platforms, Facebook and other places. So you can revisit it if you like, and you can share with your friends if you like. Lots of love. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.